What the juck is, everybody? Jenny here, back at it with another video. I thought I'll give you my initial impressions on the Erel. On Erel. It's been out in PTS for some time now. I've managed to get hands-on experience with it, so I thought I'd give you my thoughts on how I feel about this class. Alright, going to go over a few categories, and I've stolen this format from Strylander. Shout out to Strylander. So yes, we're going to go through all of these, and let's get started. So first up, a Lincoln Legion. Everyone, you're going to be making an Erel no matter what. It has best in slot, Gigabis, both Link and Legion, so you want both of these. 6% boss damage for its Legion effect at level 250, and then it is basically Seer's Link skill, but it can stack with Seer, so now you can get 20% buff duration and 6% crit damage total when you have both of them, 3% and 10% each. Alright, let's moving on to its category. So this is S tier. Erel does have some pretty significant burst. Now, look, I should put a disclaimer here. As of recording this, there are some bugs on Erel. We go over here, I've linked Mason's blog where he's gone over some of the core pertinent bugs the class has. That means that Erel is doing a lot less damage than it should be. It's in the description. You can go through the list and see all bugs the class has, but it is heavily reducing their damage output. We can analyze their full 6-minute bit. Now, this is with max HEXA, which does do some, it helps out quite a bit. Mainly, it gives you Stellar Strike, which is a every, I think 9 attacks of your main attack, it will launch this out and does some significant damage. Alright, so let's go over each of these skills. So its burst is this Judgment of Light, and then Destruction of Roan is also burst, same with Sentinel Captain. This is like the Shadow Partner effect, where you send out Rowan, and Rowan can like tags teams, and he mirrors these two attacks, Shine, Sting of Fury, and Sting of Roan, and Fury of Roan. These you do every 10 seconds. You release them both. Their origin does damage, I guess. It's not really, I think this is undertuned. Its summon actually does a decent amount. And then this is the type of skill, which you use once every 1 minute. It's part of its 1 minute burst. And then this 5th job skill does fuck all. And these are the joint attacks the Sentinel Captain does, the Rowan does with during burst. And you can see Shining Sentinel does fuck all. This is the secondary effect for whenever you use these two skills, Sting and Fury. Alright, so its burst is, it does come out kind of quickly. Now, its burst is, right now in its current duration, does take the full 10 seconds to get out. If you want to use a origin burst, it will take 15 to 20 seconds. You can, it's very tight, but you can do it all within a 15-second raw period. But once you get the 20-second raw in a raw 5, it's easy peasy. But right now, for your non-origin bursts, you can get it out within 10 seconds. However, there is a caveat. To proc Judgment of Light, which is your big spear drop that is currently bugged with the sound, so it just goes crazy. Even if you have no volume on, it is extremely loud. But this thing requires you to eat through a bunch of stacks the moment you press Eternal Guardian. Once you press Eternal Guardian, you get like 300 or so stack. Landing a Rowan attack skill 310 times activates Judgment of Light. So the Rowan skills are, of course, you've got these two here, which happens every 10 seconds. So you pop Eternal Guardian, you use Sting, or you use Sting and Fury, which are your initial 2 hits, and then you'll use Destruction of Rowan, which is a huge amount of procs. And then after you use these two, you're left with like 2 stack. It's very awkward. It may be bugged. I'm not too sure, but we'll see. So what this means is that you have to use Sting and Fury again. So it's two other versions of these. So the first one is the start of the burst, and then it goes on a 10-second cooldown, or a little less because we do have some innate cooldown reduction. Then you use Destruction of Rowan, and then you use this again, and that's your burst. Now the tricky part here is that you need to make sure the boss is still bound. This is probably the trickiest part, because you bind, and look, it gets a lot easier with Hecate. I think the burst is very consistent to get off with Hecate, but without it, it can get a little awkward, as if the boss unbounds at the 10-second mark and then just teleports, you just may biff your second set of Sting and Fury, and then it's like, shit, what do I do now? Where's all that damage? Its burst is, I would say it's chunky because of the hammer drop or the spear drop. It feels satisfying, I should say. because you use all your cooldowns and then it's a boom, and it's nice. And again, TBD, it could be even stronger. So for the verdict, I will say non-origin feels okay. If changes happen and you need to use one set of Fury and Sting into Destruction, then it's going to be a very easy and simple burst. But the fact that you have to use a second set of Fury and Sting makes things a little awkward. So I'm going to put this A tier, maybe an A minus for now. And look, say the Origin gets buffed, say Rowan, so Sting of Rowan and Fury Rowan do get better, and its burst is even punchier, then this could balloon in rating. Now, it does have an issue where you aren't really safe during your burst. Like, sure, the boss can be bound for 10 seconds, but after that, need something else. This does get kind of solved when you get the Jenny iframe, but without Jenny iframe, you're kind of stranded. Similar to Hero, you don't really have much protection when you burst, and your burst takes 10 seconds. Like, if you compare this to, say, Ren, who isn't also iframe during their burst, Ren, however, can get their entire burst off, basically, or the big portion of it within like 5 seconds. But if the changes do happen to Erel, where you can get it off within basically 2 skills or 3 skills, then this could go up higher. So initial rating, A minus. Now for its off burst. Now Erel does have a fair bit of 60-second cooldowns. So these are your list of cooldowns, and the biggest ones, well, for your mini, you have your summon. Then you have this one here is your 60-second, and then you've also got these two here. So you have decent buffs you will use every 60 seconds. And the thing is, even though we have a 5th job skill, Sentinel Rise, we can look back at the BA, and this thing, something must be wrong with it, because it's doing fuck all. Sentinel Rise. We use this once every 60 seconds, and it's only doing this much damage. Like, something must be wrong with this skill. It's a 5th job skill. I think Mason comments on it. You can see that, like, it's just dealing less damage than expected. And apparently everything looks right, but something just may be bugged with it. And then you also will use the hyper skill, Impulse of True Lane. I mean, it's decent. You just press a button, it throws out some damage, and it does some damage. Like, this is used 6 times over this 6-minute BA, and it's like, hey, it got to page 2, and it's half a damage of your Origin. It's aight. If you think of like Adele has far more significant 1 minutes. Like Shade has a more significant 1 minute. Most of its like big damage is doing off burst is coming from currently Spear of Lu and Stellar Strike. These two are the juice, and all the damage is coming from these 2 skills. And of course, to a lesser extent, Sting and Fury. So ideally, come 1 minute, you want to kind of like get it so that you use Sting and Fury during like AB. And I think with either enough buff duration and or cooldown reduction, like a CD hat, you get like 3 to maybe even 4 of these off during an AB, which is kind of nice. All right, so I'd consider off burst in its current format. It's still decent, maybe a B plus. And then it could get upgraded to maybe an A. I should have done a bit more testing to see how well it does compare between burst and off burst in its current state. But from what I'm feeling, B plus gives it a decent mark. This is a class you want to be doing. You want to stick to the boss and do as much damage as possible throughout the entire thing. It's not like Haido where you can just fuck off and do nothing for 90 seconds. You still want to be there, hitting the boss, all thanks to its main attack skill. And it's like Stellar Strike. Mobility. It's not as bad as an F, but it's pretty chopped. So Erel gets an up jump, which is nice, but it is small. It is a tiny up jump. It gets a double flash jump, which is interesting, but it's kind of not needed. It's odd. It's very out of place. This class would feel infinitely better if you could up jump into a flash jump. You play Wild Hunter, even Ren. Ren does have a flash jump after up jump with its bunny hop. You play at Wild Hunter, like Wild Hunter is insane. It has one of the largest up jumps in the game, and then you can flash jump afterwards, and it feels so smooth. Erel does not have this, and I think this is one of the biggest changes it needs, just to be able to do that. It also has a decent rush skill that is somewhat responsive. It's decent. And then it also has its assaulter-like skill. It's like on a five charges every 60 seconds. And it's okay. It does have more vertical range than the up jump. So if anything you can't up jump, you would be able to use the, I think it's got like charge or Fion. It's just annoying that you have to kind of like be sparring on it. It's like what? It's one every like 15 seconds or one every like 11 seconds you can use, which is, I guess, okay. It's enough to be able to maybe dodge most things. I just wish this was a bit more responsive and kind of like, if this was more like Dawn Warrior's TP, where you could just dash out and like animation cancel through things, this would be a crazy skill. Charger Fion would be absolutely goated. I'd also like to see it be able to be chained a little better, because right now you can up jump into a charge of Fion, path of Fion, but you can't do anything else. It gives you some freedom where you can just do an up jump into an assaulter, so you have like an upside down L movement, but that's it. You can't do anything. Like once you reach this point, you can't flash jump afterwards. But what you can do is you can assaulter up and then you can flash jump, but you kind of like go down like that. I think it's even deeper. You go like that, which is a little awkward. As for that, that's really it for its ability. It also has rope jump or rope lift, which is somewhat needed because there are some jumps you just can't do. I know I saw a video on Kobe doing adversary, and in phase 2 you can't up jump to the top of the platform, so you kind of need to save your assaulters to be able to do that, which is kind of funny. And it also may be an issue in Kalos, which is very interesting. So giving it an actual verdict on its mobility, it has no secondary movement, kind of like no secondary movement like Ren's bunny hop. Like Ren's bunny hop is insane because it's both a additional flash jump and an additional use of air stall if you hold it down. Erel doesn't have no air stall, so it has to rely on blink for its air stall, which means it's like, it's fine. It has no backstep. So no backstep. Let's actually list this. No backstep. No additional movement options like Ren's bunny hop. Or let's say Adele, no additional air stall. Like, so Adele's float, because it's like what I can think of off the top of my head. And then current options don't animation cancel. I think this is a big one for fluidity. This is especially like if we look at a more simple warrior in terms like of mobility. I look at Dawn Warrior. They're somewhat similar because their mobility is very, very fixed to being horizontal. Both their dashes, even they have 3 dashes. One's being the iframe on a 45-second cooldown. They only take you forward. There is no real way to get up into the air on Dawn Warrior, but their biggest boon is that they can animation cancel with their TP. You can use their rush into the animation cancel into another rush and go pretty far with it. Whereas chaining on Erel feels weird. They don't really flow together, and it's like, it's odd. Ideally, you want to be able to, like, best case would be able to rush into an animation cancel, assaulter, and then into another rush. No, assaulter wrong. But yeah, that would be ideal. Apart from that, the assaulters together, because right now you can only really use one at a time. You can chain them on the ground, but there's a crazy delay. You can't chain it, which means you can't like up jump and then move anywhere on the map with it. Like that is what I want. Because you look at an outlier, look at a Hayato, at any time, any moment, you could be anywhere on the map with its crazy amount of dashes. Like that's fantastic. But on Erel, you're kind of limited to a very set distance. So overall rating on mobility, it has 2 options. So I'd give it a C. C rating, maybe a C minus. Needs work. It feels very stiff. You feel very grounded on this character. Kind of similar to Hero to an extent, but Hero does have some better options with their omnidirectional dash. Oh, I will say this dash, this range, is roughly the same as a flash jump. So if I flash jump from here to here, it's roughly the same distance as the assaulter. All right, let's move on to its survivability. Again, this is another category where it's kind of cooked. Let's just go immediately with, what are we looking at for ratings? This is kind of a C. Its survivability is pretty meh. And as like a standard for a warrior, it's pretty bad. You basically have two main defensive options. Your first one is your Shield of Tulane. This is its bread and butter in terms of survivability. This is everything, really. So out of the gate, you get a 3-second iframe every 2 minutes. What is this? 2 minutes per iframe? This is egregious. This, I think, immediately needs to be reduced to at least 70 seconds. Just so it's like at least on par with Ren. And then outside that, this is the only survivability it gets, where you get a 10% max HP shield every 10 seconds. You may be thinking, that sounds actually pretty good. In reality, though, it's not that good. Like, difficult to try and like gauge its effectiveness without a consistent or reliable way to heal yourself from chip damage. It doesn't do much. Like, this 10% shield really shines when you're hit with like 100% attack or 90% attack. But if you're also experiencing chip damage, you're not consistently at 100% or 110% in this case, so you can't really feel the effects of having that shield. And if we compare this with other survivability options, I think Lifesteal is a gold standard at this point. Both Ren and Hayato are just a cut above the rest when it comes to survivability. And is it fair to even compare to Lifesteal? Because just Lifesteal as a core mechanic is kind of busted in a sense. But then again, you even have like Bowmasters, Blood Arrows. Now there is a case where you can get a familiar line that gives you a Blood Arrow effect. So maybe combining that with the shield could be pretty good. But at the same time, when you like, I consider them ability tools to like affect survivability, because survivability is all about what tools do you have in your kit. When you're given an attack you fail to predict or react to, you need like a no shit button. So you get one of them with the iframe, but then you get your 2 minutes, and what are you gonna do? Like, you shit out of luck. If Darknail is like, let's say Darknail's here and he does his like big overhead swing and sends up the big FMA, and let's say I'm stuck in this corner here. What options do I have to get to behind Darknail before this goes off? So obviously I have the 2 minute cooldown or the iframe, so I can just press that, flash jump across, and I'm fine. Say maybe I got knocked back into the corner, so I have even less time to react. What do? I have no iframe. Say my ascents are down. What can I do in this case? His ultimate set technique is basically a true one-shot. There's 150% damage in hard, so even with the 10% shield, you aren't blocking shit. You can't rely on that to survive this. So your best bet is to you have to maneuver as fast as possible. So for some flash jumps, there is a case where you could flash jump up, assaulter, and then you could use blink. Hold down blink, and then you're fine. Like, that is an option. Like, up jump in Darknail is a fairly good option. But if you wanted to, say, get behind him, it's very difficult, because as much you could do this as with assaulter, or you could do like a rush, pause, assaulter, rush, and you could barely get there. It may just be, and you actually time it what's faster, just flash jumping, or just assaulter, or just rushing. It's something I didn't confirm. So you at least have some options with assaulter. You can just up jump. I do like that, and you must rely on blink. And blink's on like a 14-second cooldown. Will kind of have that for most options. You will rely on the skill quite a bit, but that's really it. There's nothing really else you can do. Nothing like this isn't Hayato's iframe. This isn't Adele's iframe. We have that get out of a jail free card every like 20 to 30 seconds, and your movement options are pretty low, so you have to be kind of precise with your movements. All right, so survivability, C. I'd probably boost it up to a B if the cooldown on the iframe gets to like 70 seconds. Its shield, I think it does need a little bit more, maybe some passive regen. Like, it's so weird that it doesn't have passive regen. Like, oh yeah, you get, like, I think this is like a standard among most warriors. You recover 5% of your HP every 4 seconds. Like, that is somewhat decent. Adele has something similar. For every 5 seconds, you regain some HP, 4% of your max HP. And that adds up over time, and it can help. It can turn dire situations into some decent situations. Yeah, I don't think Erel has any of that kind of passive regen. All of like the Erel's passives is all like pure damage. It doesn't really gain much in terms of substantial defense. To be fair, it does feel more like a pirate, I guess, than a warrior, which is a little odd, just with the way its skills like give it stuff. Like, its defensive options are grim. It's pretty bad. It's pretty bad. So survivability is at a C. How would I improve it? Outside of the iframe, how would I prove it? I definitely want to give it like some sort of small regen passive. Fuck it, give it lifesteal. If it had lifesteal, this class would be awesome. I think lifesteal with a shield is a fantastic combination. But right now, its options are pretty limited. Best like survivability tool is that up jump into an assaulter, into float. Outside that, it's pretty cool. All right, so I spoke about its rotation earlier, and I think its rotation's fairly solid. I think it loses some points because of its, I would dare say, do I say the word clunkiness? Whereas you do feel pretty stuck in place, and then you're kind of limited in where you can go, as you ideally want to be holding down your Spear of Lu the entire time and be like on top of the boss. I say it's like burst is kind of easy to pull off, and its 1 minute's also kind of nice to pull off. So I think its rotation is nice. Look, it's nowhere near as nice as say Ren. I think Ren is much better, but you know what? I'll give it an A. I'll give this a nice A. Its rotation is fine. Its difficulty. So all of its difficulty stems from its ability to have options of being able to counter a boss's attacks. With its small flash jump, up jump, and its limited survivability and mobility tools, this artificially increases its difficulty. If we ignore that and just look at the class and how you actually dish out damage, if this is the difficulty to actually dish out damage, it's a dead-ass easy class. This class is like, I want to say, an E to an F. There is a slight combo mechanic in this kit, this thing here. So whenever you hold down your Spear of Lu, if you press these skills together, it's very simple. Hold down Spear of Lu, you press your Sting of Fury together, literally at the same time, you get the shield, then you repress Spear of Lu, you get the shield, and that's it. Very simple, very easy, fairly inconvenient. The difficulty you have is you may desync your 2 skills, maybe. And then that's the thing you gotta kind of avoid. Outside that, the class is very easy to play. I will say it gets artificially more difficult because of its current clunkiness and its current limited tools to be able to get out of things. I think that's where it gets most of its difficulty. All right, party play, it has fucking nothing. Literally, like if this class doesn't have damage, it's crazy. Like this class is pure damage and that's it. HEXA Importance. So kind of alluded to it when I showed off the BA. Stellar Strike is from HEXA. This is a huge addition to your BA. And then you also get these 2 upgraded, and it's also a significant boost. So HEXA does go crazy on this, so it's a very big jump when you first unlock it. It also gains some decent FD from the 5th job skills, mainly Destruction of Rowan and the Judgment of Light. These 2 boost your burst quite a bit. I will say its HEXA Importance and Reliance is very high or low for this. Let's go with an A tier. It's important. You need 6th job on this. It also improves farming a little bit. And it's also odd, whereas like these triangle classes don't have M3, M4 yet. So it's like, there's more to come. All right, let's get into its farming. So Erel does have a placeable summon, which is quite nice. It lasts 60 seconds, has no cooldown, and it is a great skill. So its hitbox is kind of small. Like you see this summon down, it's like, fuck, it's a massive hitbox. But it is relatively small. I think it's going to be about there. So this skill can double plat some maps, but you can see here, Spear is actually hitting all 3 plats. If the mob is big enough, Spear Light can hit all 3 platforms, and attack frequency is pretty quick. It's like once every 2 seconds. But the only downside is it can be a positive and a negative, but it only hits up to 6 mobs. So if this thing is placed around like this, the mobs here are like, there's like 10 here. If it procs 6 like 3 times per cycle, it can dish up to 18 mobs, which is kind of nice. And the best thing about this is that it does proc Janus Dusk, which is quite nice. So this is a pretty big boon. It's not as good as say Ren's. Let's get rid of this. These ads are doing my head in. It's not as good as Ren, as Ren's can like triple plat quite easily, and in some cases even quad plat, and it has a massive range, but it's better than nothing, and it's pretty decent. It also does decent damage in a BA. Outside that, you also have Spear of Lu in its 6 job variant. It has so your main attack can double plat. I think it can 3 plat some big maps, and then the vertical range on Spear of Lu's Stellar Strike, it's decent. So this is your every 9 attacks. You kind of prep this per wave. Every 9 attacks, this guy comes out launching, and depending on the map you're in, it's not like a crazy additional vertical range. but it is something extra. So you can just stand in place in one section of the map and then potentially quad plat with it. Your mileage may vary, but it's something. So outside that, it doesn't really have anything crazy in terms of farming. I think Dusk would be a little easier to farm with than Janus. Both are still pretty good. Like I would say, like if you're like playing Erel going deep into Challenger World, at best you may take Janus to level 10, maybe 15 to get the extra Dusk proc, but level 10's I think more than enough. Even level 1 Dusk can take you far. We'll see how Eteria fares. The Eteria maps do get quite crazy. We do have the boon in Challenger World where we get, well, at least this event where we do get the dog summon, which is quite nice. It's farming, I will say A tier. A tier farm. W. So you go, animations. What do I feel about animations of this class? It's very blue, and it's very blue animations was going to put me off quite a bit. But thankfully, when it does get its Hexa, but it gets like a tinge of like yellow added to it, which I think is a nice contrast. Shine Fury of Roan and Sting of Roan get a nice yellow tinge to it, which kind of makes it pop. Similar to Adele's like purple, makes the blue pop a little bit better. As for animations, I think it's okay. I don't think it's on a tier of, say, Ren or Adele. I think they're like the goats when it comes to animations. Its main attack, I say, is a little low stonk. Spear of Lu. You're kind of like doing an overhead swing with your weapon, and you're kind of like conjuring a spear above you. I think it looks a little weird when you're holding a spear and you're like slapping someone with it. Like, who slaps with a spear? I think this class will look a lot better with like a universal transparent option and then like one-handing it. You're then like just summoning a spear above you. I think that looks a lot cooler. So I'll definitely will be rocking without a spear. As for everything else, I kind of like its like tag team when it's doing its burst. You kind of summon your big lad and then you're comboing with him. Origin, it's kind of cool. Like you're throwing the Rowan like throws this massive spear to you, you grab it and then you go sicko mode. And then it's certainly this looks cool as well as you go crazy with the spear attack. So animations, maybe an A-. I think an A- is pretty good. So the animations are not really going to change. Actually, I'm going to actually make this a B tier. I lied. It's a B tier. Mainly because we got robbed. We got robbed. Let me bring this up. So this is what we could have had. Look how big these skills are. The dude's massive. So I definitely think Erel lacks the like wow factor that some of these new classes have had. Like even Red had some wow factor. Has a very satisfying burst and very pretty skill set. Like Adele is like Infinity, just summons all these massive swords. Like Erel doesn't really have this like crazy like aura farming or like holy shit moment. And I wish like if we could use these skills every single time and they're this big and this impactful, I think this would be crazy good. If we had this easy S tier animations, they need to be bigger and better. And my overall thoughts, final section. Am I still going to be playing this class? Am I still going to be maining this class or like making a Legion champion? It doesn't have the main factor. No main factor. But Legion champion, yes. I will probably still take this as a Legion champion. Very similar to like Hero, Dark Knight. And I think it's only going to get better from here. I think its damage is going to like skyrocket and just be fucking absolutely crazy. If it does get better survivability and mobility options, then I will probably consider it as a main. But I will still be playing it in Challenger World. It's still going to get some crazy prog. And it's going to be cool to take this class very far. And it will also force me to become a better player because with less tools in the kit, I actually have to learn the boss. So there's that. Yes, thank you all for watching. And as always, have a jucking good day. I'll catch you all in the next one.